This is the Global Podcast Network, where executives and professionals connect, share, and inspire. Stay tuned for the conversations that drive success.
Welcome back, everyone. I am so gratified that more and more of us are open to this thing called energy healing. I'll just put that label on it, energy healing. Like, if you went back 10 years, 20 years, people would look at it and say, oh, that's kind of woo. I don't even ever, how's that even going to work? I'm not going to do that. Now we're open to it. More of us are. And seeing the amazing benefits of something that has been around for many years, hundreds, some of these practices, maybe if not more. We're going to dig into that today. And all of this to help you heal and move your life forward and transform. She is a Galactic Shaman, a Reiki master. She's a sound healer and ascension guide and so much more. So fantastic to have Shayna Blackmar join us on the program today. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. Thank you. How are you?
Excited to learn more about this because people like you, for me, doing podcasts like this changed my life. That's where the change came. It was almost like the perfect storm of all this coming together. And it was like that old phrase, when the student is ready, the teacher shows up. And that's where it began, where this whole thing, Reiki, started doing that, sound healing, all the other wonderful modalities that come along with that. I want to look at Reiki. Let's start there. You are a Reiki master, but you go a little bit deeper than that. What would you call it? Your title within Reiki, what would that be?
Yeah, I call it shamanic Reiki, because it's just deeper and broader at the same time. And, there's more interaction depending on what comes through from the client's higher self and from source as far as what's ready to clear, and how we do it varies a lot. Just there's so many different things that can come up and different ways to do things. But what I've actually come to understand recently is that what I do is different, because so with a lot of sessions and different modalities, so the person will come in at a certain frequency, and then they're lifted up and they reach these higher frequencies during the session. Feels amazing, have some clearing done, absolutely. But then they come back down, maybe not quite as high. They're still raised up, because they have done some clearing. So their vibration has raised a little bit. But what I'm able to do, apparently, like this is, again, like I'm still kind of understanding the depth of it, is go with the client into the void, clear, transmute the blockage, the density, whatever is coming up to be cleared, transmute it into light and integrate it with them. So they come in at their frequency, they reach a really high frequency, and they leave at this much, much higher frequency, because what they have received has already been fully integrated. So it's, yeah, vibrationally, it's way bigger.
Would you say this is like traditional Reiki on steroids?
Yeah, I like that.
It's kind of what it sounds like. I want to define for everyone shamanic. I think we hear that word. Some of us might hear demonic, not even close. And there's confusion. How would you define shamanic?
Shamanic is where you can go into the different densities, the different dimensions. Like there's the 3D earth shamans, and they can go into inner earth, they can go into the astral realm, the fourth dimension. Some can probably go into the fifth dimension and come back in. But like that is much more earth-based, which is great, and has served its purpose. The frequencies on the planet are much higher now, so we have access to even higher dimensions. If we've, done the work and that's our job here to do, then we can access the higher dimensions. And so I'm able to go up and connect with source and access much higher. And with the whole galaxy, hence the Galactic Shaman, for just more work, not just within this lifetime, but connecting with the entire cohort of all the person's lives to find the seed point of, whatever they're trying to clear.
Let's talk about the third, the fourth, the fifth dimension. It's my understanding the fifth dimension is the ultimate where you want to be, the ultimate feeling of love, harmony, peace. Many of us are in the, I was going to say stuck in the, it's just negative. I don't want to go there. We're in the third dimension. Some may be crossing a toe into the fourth, maybe some touching the fifth. That's what I got. Can you explain it further?
Yeah, I mean, you may have heard the term the ascension journey. We're all ascending. And that's kind of my understanding always been the purpose of being on Earth. And, one way to look at it is we come down, we come here for soul growth, and we're working on raising our frequency through our various experiences. Now, basically, what's happened is it's on it's sped up a lot. We're going fast.
What's going on here? What's changing? Like you just said, we're on a further path of ascension. The vibration here on Earth is much stronger than it was. That's what it sounds like. Why?
Bottom line, Gaia is ascending. The Earth is ascending. And because we're on the planet, we're going with her. So
wow.
We do our work and we navigate it easier. We don't do our work and it's way more difficult.
So
because it's happening. So you can either go with it or you can fight it.
Have you been to the fifth dimension?
Yes.
What was it like?
It's peace, love, the interactions are more joyful. Like this, it's not that there's not challenges, but you can just navigate them much easier. There's less interference and you're more in control. So if something comes up, it's like, oh, what can I learn from this rather than being super triggered and spiraling,
How do you really know you're there?
A feeling.
And are you wavering in and out typically? Or is it possible I've arrived, I'm here?
Well, I mean, I'm still on the planet, so yeah.
Because it's interesting. As you say that, by the way, when you were describing it, I was going to get teary. Like, can I book a flight? Let me get there.
I know.
Let's go. But then as you explained it, after doing the work, I feel that resonated where things present in life. And instead of you're like, oh my gosh, I came out, which used to be me. Now I'm like, oh, okay. Yeah, no problem. Yeah, we'll work through that.
Yeah.
No worries.
Yeah, and that's, a perfect example of, as we raise our vibration, it's also the equivalent of raising in consciousness, then we handle things differently. We handle things better because we're not dipping down so low in frequency. We're not dipping down into fear or guilt or shame as much. Not that those are bad. It's just a much denser frequency and it's easy to get stuck.
Yeah.
But the more we do our work, we don't dip down as low, or if we do for, maybe we have something big come up that's really challenging, we don't dip down as long. We come back up pretty quick.
Exactly.
So,
you don't sit with it.
Yeah, one thing that's a really nice visual, I think, for the ascension journey is some people kind of get stuck and think it's this straight vertical line and, oh, I've done my work. I shouldn't be going back down. What am I doing wrong if I'm feeling sad again? And that's not, it's not a straight linear journey, right? We do our work and then we're strong enough to handle a deeper layer. So we get triggered or we have a challenge and we move through it and then we can go even higher. And then we integrate, we heal, and then we're able to handle something else and we go back up. So it's this ebb and flow that is just part of the universe that we're in.
And this whole fifth dimension thing, to be here or available, I don't know if that's the right term to use at this time, it took a lot of time this has been in the works or within the Ascension for quite some time.
Yeah.
And I find it kind of interesting that 1969, there was a group that came out with a song called The Age of Aquarius. And they say that that's where we are right now. This is the Age of Aquarius. The group
Yeah.
that did that song, and it was a top 5 song, big song, was The Fifth Dimension. That was the name of the group. So I find it interesting, the parallels there. And also back then in the 60s, it was a time of peace, love,
Love. Yeah.
understanding, harmony, happiness. Yeah, okay, people were walking around naked sometimes. Sometimes they were doing some weed or whatever it might be. Peace. But it's interesting that it's where we had that then, and that was almost like the prelude to what we got going on now.
Yeah, it's kind of like the first waivers of people who were becoming aware of ascension and that this is happening in the not too far off future, and like planting seeds and helping things start to shift so that people were ready
Mm.
when the time came.
I never think about that. We needed to be ready, and just
Yeah.
what we said starting out today, more people are ready in terms of embracing this, understand, being open to it, as opposed to that's whoa, I'm not going there. I'm not, I don't want to hear about that. It's like whether you believe in psychics or not.
Hmm.
It's all energy. Um, when somebody passes, talking about psychics, is their energy still with us?
Absolutely. Yeah. Um, I read this fascinating book a few years ago called The Evolution Angel, and it was written by an ER doctor
Ooh.
who, after a while, after a few years of doing his work, felt called to stay in the room after a patient had passed, just to see if there was any other way that he could help them. Just really wanting to do as much as he could
Mm,
for
mm,
these people. And I forget the length of time, but after a few months, maybe a year, he started hearing things. He started basically having conversations with this angel who, rather than being called the angel of death, was like, no, I'm here to help with transitions. Call me the evolution angel. And it's a fairly short book, and each chapter is about a conversation that he had with the people who had passed and this angel. And why did they pass? What are they doing? All of these things. Why did they have this experience? And some of them, the people were still there in the room, like he was able to see them a few times. Um, and then there's been just so many instances that I know of personally. I can't even imagine how many instances actually happen where, 2, 3 weeks after someone passes, loved ones that they were really close to, like a spouse or a parent, they'll be visited in the dream state or something where it's easier to connect in that way until they fully transition.
mm. As I'm thinking, as you're speaking, and thank you for making this easy to understand. I really appreciate it. Um, Throughout the years, I've worked with psychics. I'm not a psychic connoisseur. It just happened that way. Some of the top ones, they started with me in terms of marketing and exposure, and friends. I've been with them for years and years. I saw all of this going on, all of this energy work. I even helped one psychic launch a worldwide metaphysical website, and this was like 15 years ago. So ahead of its time, people weren't ready for it. But all of these terms, Reiki, tarot, on and on and on and on, yeah, I was aware of them, but I never really dipped my toe into the water. I was kind of just like going with it. All right, that's great. I got that. I know what that is. But now that I'm practicing it, I'm not a Reiki master or even trained or anything like that. But doing these things,
Yeah, doing the work and
now I see it. And when people pass, my mom passed 7 years ago, coming up next month, a couple of weeks. And that after even watching psychics and connections and all of that, and I believed it. And I'm skeptical. I would call them out on it. Yeah, show me more. I want to see more. Um, that was the first time where I really got it. Like her energy, I feel all the time. And
yeah.
she sends me signs. I've talked about it before. They are very specific. Again, I'm skeptical. You can't punch a
Yeah,
hole in it. And
100% confirmation.
and again and again and again. Um, but I believe that was my proof that the energy is still around, even though the body isn't.
Our ancestors are here to help us, and sometimes they help us even more on the other side.
Hmm. Are we spiritual beings in human containers?
I would say so. Yeah, I mean, we're from the stars, right? We have DNA from all around
Yeah,
the
I feel
galaxy.
so too. It was one day I'm in my garage, I'm just staring out into some trees, and then it like hit me that that's really what we are. These containers, we're here for the human experience. It's like a car breaks down after a number of years, the car doesn't run anymore. Um, our energy is still, it's everything's energy, so the spirit is still there. So we're talking about today shamanic Reiki. Who is that for, and what does a typical session look like?
I mean, it's honestly for anyone, especially those who are ready to prioritize their healing. And what does it typically look like? It can be in person or virtual, and you lay down, you relax, and talk about what you want to focus on, of course. And then I do a little bit of sound healing at the beginning and then a little bit at the end to break up energies at the beginning and then at the end fill up with higher frequencies once the space has been cleared. And then work through calming and balancing the system, the body, and then whatever spirit and their higher self guides me to do, working with various chakras and cleansing and um, balancing, removing things, energetically.
Hmm. Is this statement true? I've heard it. I wonder. When you're working with somebody, first of all, you don't have to touch them. You could do it virtually. Most of the
Right.
Reiki I've had has been with,
Virtual.
oh my God, 1,500 miles away the person was. I didn't even talk with them. They just told me to get in a comfortable spot, 8 p.m., and they'll do their thing. And profound. But when you're working with someone, even if they're face to face, you don't need to hear anything. You don't need to hear personal stories, situations, any of that. And is this true? You put the energy in, it goes where it's supposed to go or needs to go. Is that right?
Yeah, absolutely. It is coming in to raise the vibration. And if there's a low vibration, a density or a blockage is considered something low, right? Because um, we're mostly fluid. We're intended to flow,
Mm.
right? And so if anything is not flowing, that's density, that's stagnation, that's a blockage. That is what the light is coming in to clear out so that it can flow, so the river can keep moving.
I never thought of it that way, the flow. Because I'm on board with the thought that we have to be in flow. Life is always flowing, but I didn't connect it like we're mostly water. So there you go with the flow. Never thought of that.
Yeah,
Wow.
yeah.
Yeah, it's funny. I just got to drop something dropped in my head. Um, my mom always used to say, "Go with the flow," and a lot of other things, the cliches or whatever. When I was younger, I'm like, in my mind,
Whatever,
I'm thinking,
mom.
I'm thinking, you're old. What do you know? Love you, but that's what I'm thinking. Like, why are you telling me this? These silly things.
Mhm.
Now, everything she said was true, and
Yeah.
even the go with the flow. I visualize that as you're in the river of life.
Hmm.
It's going to take the current's going to take you. You have to go with the flow. If you try and fight it, if you try and grab a rock, on a shore or a little tiny island or something, so you can stop going with the flow, you're wasting your time because the universe has a lesson for you. You're going to be
Hmm.
back in that river at some point going with the flow. So you might as well turn over, float on your back, and go down that river. That's
Yeah, and
that's the
it's
way I look at it.
exactly, it's usually our human aspects that are resistant or stuck
Yeah.
in the past or afraid. And so, just give it love. It's doing the best it can and
Mm,
say it's safe. It's time to
yep.
go with the
Got to
flow.
go with the flow. So when you do Reiki or shamanic Reiki on somebody, can you Can you detect where they've got stuck energy or negative energy?
I mean, I feel it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Some people I think can see it. Different practitioners will, it works differently for everybody. Yeah.
Do you get thoughts, like information, or a takeaway that you share with them after a session? Does that ever happen?
Yeah, I have things come through throughout the session for what to do during, and then I always ask, like, is there, do you have messages? Is there more they can do to help them? And 95% of the time, there's something that comes through for them to continue to help them on whatever this next step is so they
Mm.
can move forward.
After a Reiki session, have you had a message for them?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, sometimes it's physical stuff like, you know, drink dandelion tea. But it's also energetic tools that will come through that will be helpful for them. Sometimes it's, this energy is shifting and it's going to be good. Don't freak out. Yeah.
It's what do people tell you after a session? What are some of the things you yeah, sometime have heard or you hear quite frequently?
Yeah, pretty much every session, everyone is so much calmer, centered, grounded in their body, just
Mm.
filled with so much more light, so much more of themselves, and at peace. And then they can really find clarity with whatever it is that they're looking for. And then oftentimes, a few days later, a couple weeks later, or maybe at their next session, they'll say, "Hey, this happened. Hey, guess what this was? This was totally, connected to that came through." Because sometimes it'll come through, and both of us are like, "I don't really know what this is related to, but it'll be helpful at some point."
Mm. Yeah, the word clarity. I saw it in my eyes, behind in my mind, and then you said it, and I've had that lighter feeling, comfortable. I've fallen asleep during Reiki sessions. Best sleep ever. I don't really snore. Somebody told me I was because I was just so relaxed and out. And I remember having Reiki on a Sunday and had a little personal thing going on. Come Monday, I wake up, got the answer. Well, good. Yeah. Oh my gosh. Well, yeah, you must have had a great night's sleep. All right. And I'm like, oh wait, no, that was the Reiki I had yesterday.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's awesome.
It's so cool the way it works. How do we work with you? I know that you're located in Austin. So obviously, if you're within the metro, somebody can see you personally, but the majority of what you offer to help people heal can be done virtually for anybody anywhere, right?
Absolutely. You can connect to my website. It's Vurusha.com, Vurusha, and or through social media, Shayna Blackmar Healing on Instagram, and then you can connect into my website from there as well to get more information on sessions and book.
I might have asked this before, but I have to ask it again. Vurusha, what does that mean?
Yeah, it's a Sanskrit word that means higher consciousness. Um, yeah, and when I found it, it stuck with me, and it's like that's what I want. It's like that's
You
what
know,
I'm calling in. So
I'm in a men's group, and we do a little bit of shaman stuff, some shadow work, if others are open to it. We're a leadership and a community service group as well. And we have different tours and we come up with a name for our team during those tours. Yeah, it lasts like maybe 3, 6 months, something like that. Trying to come up with a name for this one next week. Got to have it by then. And I'm thinking Vurusha, like the Vurusha Warriors or something, something
oh,
manly like
nice.
that.
Oh, I
Uh,
love that.
I might hijack that from you.
Yeah. Well, it's out there for everyone.
Yeah, so wonderful talking with you. Your energy is fantastic. Just so relaxing, grounding. This is what you do. Looking forward next time we get together. So much to talk about.
Thank you.
Thank you. We'll be right back.
This is the Global Podcast Network, where executives and professionals connect, share, and inspire. Stay tuned for the conversations that drive success.